Namaste everyone, I am Gyan and you are watching the session 18 of Java and Web, String API in Java. In this video we will learn the substring and the subsequence methods of the StringBuffer class in Java. This is the signature of substring method. The substring is a public and synchronized method of the class StringBuffer, which returns a string reference. One argument accepted by the method substring is of type integer. The substring method returns a new string that contains a subsequence of characters currently contained in the caller character sequence. So the substring method will create a new string object with a subset of the caller string buffer. In simple words, if I say this statement, then the method substring create a new string object with the subset of the content of the caller string buffer object. Now the question is, what will be that subset? That subset means that substring begins at the specified index start and extends to the end of the caller sequence. We will look at this statement practically later in this video. The substring method throws string index out of bounds exception if the start is less than 0 or greater than the length of the caller string buffer object. Now let's use this method practically in a Java code. Here we have the Java file first.java. In the first.java we have the class first. In the class first we have the method main. In the method main we are creating a new string buffer object with the content hello. Then after we are calling the method substring by using the reference variable sb, and we are using the integer constant 1 as the argument of the substring method. So the substring method will create a new string object in the heap with the content starting from the index 1, means starting from e up to the end. Means it will take the characters E, L, L and O, and using these characters the substring method will create a new string object in the heap. Reference to that created string object will be returned by the substring method and will be stored into the reference variable s1 of type string. After that we are printing the reference variable s1, which will print E, L, L and O, the content of the newly created string. Then after again we are calling the substring method by using the reference variable sb with the argument 2. At this time again it will create a new string object in the heap with the content starting from the index 2, means this L, up to the end, means O. So using the characters L, L and O, it will create a new string object and the content of that newly created string object will be printed like L, L and O. Again we are calling the method substring by using the reference variable sb with the index 0. So starting from the index 0, it has to take all the characters up to the end. So it will take all the 5 characters of the string hello and will create a new string object in the heap with the content hello. That's how here it will print hello. But if we pass here the value 5, means start from the index number 5, then in this case it will do nothing. Means it will print just none. It will create a new string object with empty content and it will print none. But if we pass a number which is more than the length of the string buffer object, in that case the substring method will throw string index out of bounds exception. Or if we pass a negative number to the substring method, then in that case also the substring method will throw string index out of bounds exception. This is the another format of substring method which is public and synchronized and returns a reference of type string. The substring method accepts 2 arguments. Both are of type integer. Here in this case, the substring method returns a new string that contains a subsequence of characters currently contained in this sequence. That means it will take a subset from the content of the caller string buffer object, and using that content it will create a new string object in the heap. Now the question is, what subset to take from the caller string buffer object? The substring to take from the caller string buffer object begins at the specified start and extends the character at the index end -1. So it will start from the index start and it will end at the index end -1. The substring method throws string index out of bounds exception if start or end are negative or greater than length, or start is greater than end. Means if you take any of these 2 arguments negative, then the substring method will throw string index out of bounds exception. Or if start is greater than end, then in that case also the substring method will throw string index out of bounds exception. Or if start or end is greater than the length of the caller string buffer, in that case also the substring method will throw string index out of bounds exception. Here in this case we have the Java file first.java. In the first.java we have the class first. In the class first we have the method main. In the method main we are creating a new string buffer object with the content hello, whose reference will be stored into the reference variable sp. Then after we are calling the method substring by using the reference variable sp by using two arguments 1 and 3. So starting from the index 1 means starting from E, it will take up to the index 3 minus 1 means up to the index 2. It will take these two characters E and L. By using these two characters, it will create a new string object in the heap. Reference to that string object will be returned by the substring method and will be stored into the reference variable s1 of type string. When we print the reference variable s1, it will print the content of the created string, that is E and L. Similarly, here we are calling the method substring by using the reference variable sp by using two arguments 2 and 3. So start from the index number 2, start from this L, the first L in the hello, and go up to 3 minus 1 means go up to 2. So start from 2 and go up to 2 means we need to take just one character from this string buffer content and create a new string object in the heap. We do not need to store the reference of that string object. We are just printing the content of that created string and it will print L. I think here is something wrong. It should be 4. Let me change it. So in this case, start from the index 2 means start from the first L and go up to 4 minus 1 means go up to 3. So start from 2, go up to 3 and print all these two characters and create a new string object by using these two characters. After that we are printing the content of that newly created string object which contains only LL. So starting from the index 3 means this second L, go up to 5 minus 1 means go up to 4, go up to this O. So by using these two characters L and O, the substring method will create a new string object in the heap and then we are printing the content of that newly created string object which will print L and O. Here the output L is something wrong, we need to change it. It should be L and O, not only L. Then after again starting from the index number 0 means starting from H, go up to the index 4 minus 1, go up to 3 means take 0, 1, 2 and 3. Take these four characters H, E, L and L and create a new string object in the heap with this content. Then after print the content of the newly created string object in the heap and it will print H, E, L and L. After that again we are calling the method substring by using the arguments 0 and 5. So starting from the index number 0, go up to 5 minus 1 means 4, go up to 4. That means we need to take all these 5 characters and create a new string object. Finally we are printing the content of that newly created string object which prints hello. Here in this case you can see we are using the number 6. 6 minus 1 is equal to 5. Last index of this string is only 4. It's not 5. So in this case the substring method will throw string index out of bounds exception. Again here we are using a negative index. So in this case also the substring method throws string index out of bounds exception. Apart from the substring method, there is one more method in the StringBuffer class and that method is the subSequence method. There is only one difference between the subSequence method and the substring method. Instead of returning the reference of type string, the subSequence method returns the reference of type CharSequence. And we know that the CharSequence is an interface. The interface subsequence gets implemented by all the three classes, string, StringBuffer and StringBuilder, all the three classes. So all the properties of the subsequence method is similar to the substring method. The subsequence method returns a character sequence that is a subsequence of this sequence, means the caller sequence. The subsequence method throws index out of bounds exception. If you remember, the substring method throws string index out of bounds exception, but the subsequence method throws index out of bounds exception if the start index or end index are negative, or if end index is greater than length, or if start index is greater than the end index. In these three cases, the subsequence method throws index out of bounds exception. But if you look at the code, let's look at the code of the StringBuffer.java and see what's happening here. This is the code of StringBuffer.java and this is the subsequence method. The subsequence method ultimately calls the substring method of its superclass. The superclass of the StringBuffer class is abstract string builder. Let's look at the substring method of abstract string builder.java. Let's open it. And this is the substring method of abstract string builder.java. You can see here the substring method of abstract string builder.java returns a reference of type string. Means actually created object is of type string. It's creating a new object of type string and returning that reference. So the reference of type string first gets typecasted into reference of type CharSequence. Then reference of type CharSequence is returned by the subsequence method of the StringBuffer class. I hope you are getting my point. Actually, the reference returned by the subsequence method is of type CharSequence, which stores reference of type string object. The actual created object is string, whose reference is stored into the CharSequence reference. And that reference is returned by the subsequence method of the StringBuffer class. So internally, it is the string object which stores the subsequence, the substring. The subsequence method returns the reference of type CharSequence. The CharSequence is an interface which gets implemented by the class string, StringBuffer and StringBuilder classes. So the reference of type string object gets typecasted into the CharSequence and returned by the subsequence method. So what the method we can call by using the reference of type CharSequence is either it has been implemented inside the CharSequence interface or it has been implemented by the string class. We know that nowadays an interface can implement various methods like default methods, static methods, etc. So we can call only those methods of the CharSequence interface which is either implemented inside the interface or implemented by the class string. Let's examine the CharSequence.java and see its various methods. This is the CharSequence.java and the most important public method here is the method toString. The method toString is implemented by all the classes, string class or StringBuffer class or the StringBuilder class. But in our case, when you print the reference variable of type CharSequence, since it contains the reference of type string object, so it will call the toString method implemented by the class string. As we already noted, by using the reference variable of type CharSequence, we can call only those methods of the CharSequence which is implemented by the class string. Other methods of the class string cannot be called by using the reference variable of type CharSequence. This is the Java file first.java. In the first.java we have the class first. In the class first we have the method main. In the method main we are creating a new StringBuffer object with the content hello, whose reference is stored into the reference variable sb of type StringBuffer. By using the reference variable sb, we are calling the method subSequence by using two integer arguments 1 and 3. So again, similar to the substring method, starting from the index 1, go up to the index 3 minus 1, means go up to the index 2. By taking these two characters, create a new string object. So the new string object will be created by using these two characters. And reference of that newly created string object will be converted into CharSequence type. That CharSequence reference, which actually a reference of type string object, that CharSequence reference will be returned by the subsequence method and will be stored into the reference variable s1. That's why when we print the reference variable s1, it will call the toString method of the class string, because this is the string object whose reference is stored into the reference variable s1 of type CharSequence. So whenever you try to print the reference of type CharSequence, it will actually call the toString method which is present in the class string. We know that this concept is called polymorphism. Rest of the outputs are similar as substring method. But unlike the string class, there is no contains method in StringBuffer or StringBuilder classes. If you don't know about the contains method, you must watch that video. The link of that video is given in the video description, or you can click on the I button to watch that video. That's all for this video guys. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe my channel on YouTube, like my page on Facebook, and leave your valuable comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.